We go.
All
I
right.
don't know. No one's in here yet. Just zero viewers, one viewer. Um, but welcome to the another Right for California live watch along. We're a little late today. I was at Best Buy at curbside pickup, and it took over 25 minutes, so that's why I'm late. But we're here watching the Cal game. I'm Rob. Ray, of course, one of our best writers, the one we can't do without because he covers all our Olympic sports and is pretty much there in every single event that I can possibly think of. So he joins us. Nick's going to join us in a little bit later, as soon as he's done around 5 o'clock, he said. And then, we're just going to be watching this Cal game. How you doing this evening, Ray?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm doing well. To be completely honest, I only tuned in for very small parts of the first two game. One of them, I guess, we didn't even know it was official, right?
Yeah, they said it was an exhibit. They had said the game against Northwest was a exhibition game on the schedule, and then after the game was over, it just like counted towards our record. So now we're
Hey,
one
I'll
and
take
one.
it. Yeah. Hey, first official win any sports, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we're here. If you're joining us, thanks for joining us. If you're watching on Periscope, I recommend you hopping over to our YouTube channel to watch along so you can chat with us and talk to us about the game and how it's happening. But we're here just watching the Nicholls State versus Cal game as it just goes to immediate timeout on my screen. We all might be a little delayed, but it's the under 12 timeout. Cal's up 6-4 with 11:39 left to play.
All right. Yeah, you definitely are ahead of me. And okay, they just threw the ball away, and now it's a timeout for me. But so far, Cal's not shooting well at all, and that's probably an understatement. But but we did manage to hit 2 threes.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I was surprised about was I saw Joe Brown was going to start the game, but I think for the second straight game, he kind of came in off the bench, and we started the two grad transfers. Yeah,
in Foreman and Betley.
Right, the two guys who have hit shots, one apiece.
Yeah, for lack of a better word, definitely shots made. Betley currently is 1 of 4, all 3-pointers. And then the rest of the team, Bradley's 0 for 2, Andre Kelly's 0 for 1. Bears are one of their last 8 with four turnovers in the last 7:20. Oh boy, that's a recipe for disaster.
On the other hand, we did get a lot of offensive rebound, which is, I think, to be expected against a small school, basically.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But it's, with Pac-12 play starting, in a few days?
On Thursday against ASU here in Berkeley.
Yeah, it's a little disturbing that we haven't figured out how to shoot yet. But
yeah, we haven't figured out how to shoot. We haven't figured out what our rotation is. There's a lot of question marks heading into, it's like a 2-game in conference schedule, and then we go like back to out of conference for like a few handful of games, and then we're back to full in conference. It's like it's weird times.
Yeah, definitely weird. But it's a weird year, and I guess they had maybe the break for a final, or I don't know what. Yeah, that would be my guess to why there's a break in Pac-12 play. But
that's your analysis right there. Is that they're taking tests?
Maybe somebody's taking tests.
Yeah, that's the analysis people are here for. Ray, since you're here, I wanted to ask you, because you're our resident, Olympic sports guy for the site, covering most of the sports that realistically for the university don't make it any money, right? That's pretty much how you look at it.
The goal is to break even, I think. It's,
right. Yeah. What have you seen or like heard about, the Olympic team? Like, have you been following them? Are there any specific teams that look to maybe make some splash during like an uncertain year?
Well, first of all, is he all right? Or
yeah, I hope Monty's all right. Well, I'm a little bit ahead of you. He's back
Yeah.
up on his
Okay.
knee, and then he collapses down on the floor again. So
All right.
he's
Anyway,
just laying down on the ground.
right. Yeah. So I think supposedly all the sports, all the fall sports will start in the next new year.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but the only thing other than football and basketball that has done anything that I know of was the swim team has had meet. I think they hosted a meet and then went to Stanford and had another meet. Um, so there, and that's considered a winter sport, the same season as basketball.
Right.
So I think that's why they're starting at kind of the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't know what the plan is for the other sports, other than there's some occasional thing about players coming back to campus and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I mean we know like which sports are back for sure, right? Which is men's basketball, women's basketball, football
Mm-hmm.
are the three main ones. As Monty Bowser is still on the floor. He's upright. He's sitting up. Just his legs are outstretched. I think it's his back. I think he landed straight onto his back, and it's not. It's. I think he's in a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, he's moving his legs. He's moving like everything. I think maybe a back contusion. Yeah, he's wincing in pain as they grab his back and test it out. Movement is always a positive in these types of situations. As long as he's moving his peripherals, I think that's a big positive sign. But man, he landed straight onto his lower back, like right onto his spine and hip. So it looks like he's walking off under his own power. Man, I think he's probably headed straight back to the locker room to get some X-rays done.
Mm.
But man, he's been a real good spark over the last couple of games too. I was looking forward to seeing him maybe get some more extended minutes going into this. He's well deserved some extra minutes, but hopefully he'll return for the rest of the game. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
Right. Yeah. Better to be safe.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, yeah. Like I said, I'm a little bit behind on my.
Yeah, you're a little bit behind, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. But at least you don't have the anxiety, right? I think that's the thing when we were doing these streams. It's like whoever is ahead has the most anxiety, and they can kind of give off hints of how the rest of the people that are live streaming with us should feel like going forward.
Yeah, for the football games, I have been calling into. I was part of the Cal DC club.
Yeah.
So they have the online game watch, and I was way ahead of everybody else by several plays. And I've been told I'm very bad. I don't have a poker face. So yeah, typically especially when bad things happen, everybody else, even when I'm on mute, I think can figure that out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I was at the game and I was live streaming every once in a while, just like hopping in and, like when you're at the football game versus when you're watching it on TV, I was a good play and a half in front of the guys watching at home. So like I already had saw the PAT blocked like a good 45 seconds before they even realized what had happened. I felt like I was living in the future. It was very weird. But yeah, I tried not to make a scene just so well, one, if I made a scene, I would have gotten in trouble in the press box. And two, if I made a scene, it just takes away from the experience of the insanity which ensued for that big game this past weekend.
Yeah. I don't know. The less we talk about that, probably probably the better.
It's true. It's true. But Ray, this is your first time on with us. How have you been spending your quarantine / shelter in place / self-isolation / pandemic / Armageddon?
Yeah, it's I think the one definite thing that's improved for me is my cooking ability. I think I'm
gotten
just
better.
so used to so used to just eating out. I mean, not really fancy stuff, but just or by the time I get back home, I don't spend that much time cooking, and there's definitely a lot more opportunity and or time, just to it's something else to do, I guess, when you're stuck at home.
Yeah. I feel like that's been a constant trend with everyone I've talked to, especially the guys that watch sports. It's like you don't have anything to watch like at night, so you end up like watching like cooking shows or like YouTube videos on cooking, and it seems like some guys have increased their cooking ability over the last like 9 months. As Nicholls State commits the foul, he heads to the bench. The Bears have the ball up 11-6 with 9:30 left to play in the first half.
All right, so the number of total rebound has kind of evened out a little bit, but I think the very, very quick preparation that I did for this game, I think I noticed that Cal definitely should have a height advantage in this one.
Yeah, I'm surprised. This might be a rotation change because Monty went out, but Lars coming in to play was a definite surprise here. I didn't, I want him to succeed, but with his play the first 2 games of the season, it doesn't look like he's made that jump from freshman year to sophomore year. And with that, like, you need to win games, and if players don't make that jump, like, how can you don't have enough you don't have enough to go off of to say he deserves those minutes. I think that's the big thing.
Sure, but I mean, the Cal's only up by 5 right now, but this is the game to give him some confidence and let him play.
Yeah. I mean, the opportunity is now there, especially with Bowser out, because I feel like Bowser was that other. We might have gone with that whole Villanova style offense where it's like 4 guards / a forward and then 1 forward that's on the blocks. Like, I feel like that's our best lineup.
Sorry, I got a call that may or may not be Cal calling to ask for money. But yeah, but anyhow, right, I agree with you. All right, we finally went to a break.
As Grant knocks down the 3,
Yep.
and Nicholls State takes a timeout here. The Bears up 16-6 with 8:16 left in the half. Lovely. I just want this to be like one of those, kind of like the Northwest game. Simple blowout, not much. We were in the lead the entire game. We never gave it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the game I want right now.
Right. I mean, this should be that game. If this can be that game, we're in some serious issue.
If we're not leading big in this game, yeah, I think
it doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well. Yeah, especially now we finally starting to hit some shots. Right. I don't think we were gonna go 1 for 9 for the entire game, but for a moment there, yeah.
Yeah, the Bears on a 13-2 run over the last 6 minutes and 43 seconds. They're 4 of their last 5. Nicholls State, on the other hand, is 1 of their last 10 and 5 turnovers in the last 7 minutes. So clearly a turn of events after the Bears committed, I think, 4 fouls or 4 turnovers in the first 4 minutes. Taking a look at some of the stats. Yeah, we're 4 of 9 from 3. I think that's a very good start compared to how terrible we shot from beyond the arc against Oregon State and also against Northwest.
So it is our strategy this season to take half the shots from the 3-point line, or is that just?
I mean, I think from a roster composition standpoint, they're a team that should shoot a lot of perimeter shots. They have a lot of 3-point makers on the team. I think that was the thing that Nick was super upset about last year is why are we going to the post when our post guy is inefficient and can't finish at the basket, and we're not even shooting, close to half of our shots from beyond the arc when the majority of our guys are pretty decent 3-point shooters. So I don't know. I don't think it's a live by the 3, die by the 3 type of thing, but that's where we really should get their, production from their perimeter guys. And that's where the offense should go in. It should be an outside to in game, whereas Mark Fox last year tried to go inside out.
Right, and this is also, I guess, modern basketball, right?
Right.
Spacing, shoot the 3.
Positionless. You just want a whole bunch of guys that are like 6'7", 6'8" that can do everything, right?
Right.
Dribble, drive, assist, defend, shoot the 3. It's kind of what you want. Ooh. As the Bears with a 24-second shot clock, I believe, violation, or 30-second shot clock violation by Nicholls State. I mean, we talked about this on previous broadcasts, but man, I'm thoroughly surprised by the offense and what they're trying to do. The motions, the sets, the movement, everything's all positive. Nothing seems stagnant. Nothing seems like we're trying to force things into the post. There are occasions where we try to force it into the post, but for the most part, we're running those high pick and rolls, as you said, modern basketball, warrior style offense.
Right.
Trying to do that with a lot of ball movement, and it's working.
Yeah, it's working. It's might be a different thing when I start playing better basketball team. With no offense to Oregon State, even though they beat us, I think they're picked to be finished behind us. So they're, but I mean it's hard because they have a brand new team, so that's not really accurate. Of their ability, but right. Oregon State, Northwest, and now Nicholls State. It's a typical soft schedule to open the year. So.
Speaking of Nicholls State, here's one of our editor-in-chief, our writer-in-chief, our Monday columnist, Nick joins us.
Good late afternoon, gentlemen.
It is. Or evening.
Early evening. If you happen to be on the East Coast.
Right. Yeah, it's all the same. I don't know what's going on.
You love these 4:30 Pacific time starts.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like this is going to be the trend for a while for at least the California schools, just because of the curfew. Like it's going to be that 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. start. I don't think we're going to go beyond that.
So if we're doing a quick timing check, Matt Bradley just canned a 3 from the wing for me. I'm guessing I'm behind you two gentlemen.
And
it's 21-6.
Right. It is 21-6 for me. Matt already made the 3. I already saw the defensive position, and I just saw our offensive position afterwards.
Okay.
So I think I'm the farthest ahead.
About a possession behind you guys. Yeah. Okay.
Right. I'm definitely in between.
I think Ray's in between you and me, Nick.
Sacramento, as we've established throughout our streaming experiment, is just 30 seconds behind the rest of the world. I imagine we're pretty pleased with the manhandling that we are currently applying to the. I can't forget. Are these the colonels or the governors?
Colonels.
Okay.
Colonels. Yeah. Captains.
Couldn't
first
keep
lieutenants.
Boring college nicknames straight. Which governmental position these teams were named after?
Right, that's what the part of, I don't know where in Louisiana they're from, but they're apparently the Colonels.
They're from Louisiana?
I saw so. Unless.
Have you guys glanced at their schedule for the year?
I have not.
because it's hilarious.
Run me through it, Nick. Run me through it.
Well, so they're currently in the midst of their swing through California, playing UC Davis, Idaho State, Santa Clara, California, and St. Mary's. I guess on their way back home, they play Baylor.
Oh gosh.
Then they go Campbellsville. This name is so long it doesn't even fit. It's Campbellsville, Harrisburg, Carver, and Arlington Baptist. I think are all NAIA teams.
Is Nicholls State an NAIA team?
No,
No,
they're
no.
D1.
They're
Not
D1, right?
particularly good D1, but D1.
Yes.
Southland Conference.
So I think they're making all their money on the California swing, getting paid to
Travel.
travel, and then try to get some wins by coming back home and playing non D1 teams.
Or maybe squeak out one, close game or a, high profile upset.
Well, they did beat UC
They-
Davis, which
right.
is not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They probably should
Oh,
have beaten
come on,
Idaho State.
Andre. I mean, it's a tough shot, but man.
Let's see.
I hear the cats. Hello, dear friend.
She's annoying.
Oh, okay. I see why you had that reaction.
And it looks like he kind of got partially blocked.
Yeah, but got to go a little harder. And
Yeah, I felt like he jumped a little lightly. I thought maybe he thought the defender wasn't going to come at him too hard. But yeah, this is not a good run here.
Well, we probably weren't going to hold him to 4 points for forever.
Yeah. Well, Nick, you missed out. Monty Bowser on a give and go with Lars from the elbow. Hit the deck hard. He got his legs pretty much cut out from under him. Not intentional. I think it's in the game. Landed straight onto his lower back and was writhing in pain. Sat up with his legs outstretched, moving his peripherals and everything. And then finally got up. Or they massaged his lower back and you could see him wincing in pain a little bit. And then they got him up and he walked off under his own power and they took him back to the locker room. And he has not been seen since.
Yeah, I would be surprised to see him the rest of the game. I have actually been sort of watching. I had the game on in the background while I wrapped up my work day. So I have a sense of what's been going on.
Well, we're giving them a little bit of a run to get back into this.
right.
Yeah, I suppose the shame. I mean, obviously, you're going to be pretty thrilled to have a team held to 11 points approaching the final TV time out of the half.
Yep.
It's just that the offense hasn't fully taken advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I suppose we're seeing a sort of a typical Mark Fox type game.
This is going to end up being like a 50 to 30 type of game. The way it's going.
Which is not how Nicholls State particularly wants to play.
Right.
They probably want to get out and run.
Well, to be fair, I think they do get out and run. It's just that their offense tends to be shut down when they face better teams.
And that is a foul. And there is the TV timeout.
Right. And their last game was not yesterday, but the day before. Okay, so it's not like they're tired.
Yeah, not yet at least. As the Bears enter the final TV timeout, the Bears lead 21-11 with 3:53 left in the first half.
I didn't see if they called a trip on there.
I think
When
I saw the
Bradley went down, or if they just
I saw the
called a
baseline
turnover.
ref put up the little fist, the foul.
Okay.
The
It
foul
looked like
fin.
he got tripped, so I would have
Yeah.
been annoyed if they hadn't called that. But I'm seeing if I can.
Yeah, the
Pull up
stat
the
broadcast. Stat broadcast has it as a foul.
Okay.
I can
good.
link. I can link you if you want it, Nick.
That's okay. I got it.
Ray, if you want it,
Here.
I linked it in the private chat, so you can
Okay.
click it. That's gonna be way ahead of you because that's coming straight. That's coming straight from Haas. So
And at least
Right.
at the TV timeouts, we can more or less be on the same
Be
page
synced
as
up.
everything.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Sometime I can gain a little bit of time by restarting it.
So I can see my sort of good news, bad news with the Cal offense so far. The good news is that the Bears are taking lots of threes, and they didn't let some early misses dissuade them from continuing to take threes. Now they've canned 5 of 13. That's a solid percentage. The bad news is against a team that's not really known for their interior defense, based on the stats I've glanced at. We're 2 of 11 on our 2-point attempts. Less great.
Yeah, we when Ray and I were watching earlier, we had a pretty good rebounding advantage, but that has definitely balanced out now. Where Cal has 16 rebounds to Nicholls State 15. And offensive rebounds pretty much the same too, with Bears with 6 and Nicholls State with 4.
Okay.
And the offensive rebound edge was established very, very early when Cal was 1 for 9, I think, and was like trailing 2-4. So, yes, that
Lots
has
of
kind
long
of
rebounds
leveled
on the
off.
threes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yep,
And they've made up that ground.
that has leveled off. But yeah, I was saying to Rob that I was surprised that Joe Brown didn't start this game again, even though he seemed like the only natural point guard on the roster. But I guess the both of the grad transfer and Matt Bradley all has a little bit of playmaking ability.
Yeah, I think ultimately the shot making ability that Foreman brings to the court probably trumps whatever advantage Joel Brown may have as a defender and maybe as a distributor. I'm not really haven't gotten a sense yet of which player is better in that.
How does
regard.
that go in?
All right, I got something to look forward to. We got a Nicholls State Circus shot coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. I mean, they did score a whole bunch of points, so I guess that's a ability to make bucket.
What the?
You talk about the Fingal roll that fell in off the back of the rim?
Yeah, by number 13?
The first possession out of the timeout?
Yeah. Like up and under, like sideways, little hit off the. Yeah, that was weird.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
It's got some hang time. It is very weird seeing Haas with the bench fully pushed back as if it's like a gymnastics meet.
Mm-hmm.
And you see like the gray ground on the bottom. I don't know if it's like the cushion ground or if it's the cement, but
what threw me off was having Nicholls State. I don't know if they were players or team members, staff, whatever, kind of behind the basket. And so,
there's a few more spots. Like the Cal side has that too, where a few of the guys are like right behind the baseline.
You're used to seeing like Cal fans,
band members
in the bench backs. There are bench members like cheering, and then wait, it's like guys in red cheering the opposite way. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, Matt Bradley. Yes, you cannot stop him.
Well, it's good that we need him to get going because he's been the only source of offense with any consistency in this game.
He hasn't started off strong either this season. He's gotten to the line, but his shooting hasn't been where we expected shooting to be.
I don't really love that shot, generally speaking, but if it goes down and win a game when you're fighting to get to 25 before halftime, you take whatever you can get.
Yeah, it's a no. Okay, yeah, okay, yes.
All right,
he's about the only guy I'm.
Yeah, you can finish your thought.
I was gonna say he's about the only guy on the roster I'm okay to taking that shot, or
any shot
really. Yeah.
Right. I mean, at this point of his Cal career, yeah, definitely. I think
he's the guy.
Right. He can shoot it whenever he wants.
Okay, this is a terrible end to the half. Like the last 5 minutes has been absolutely horrendous for the Bears, offensively and defensively. Like this is this is not good.
I'm not going to kill him for the defensive side of things just because it's a little bit, regression. Nicholls wasn't going to miss everything. But yeah, being stuck on 21 points for however long it was before Matt finally hit that elbow jumper.
And Nicholls starting to make all their shots too.
Right. But I mean, there were a few shots there where Cal got pretty good look. They just couldn't make it. Right.
Yeah, you had a bunch of layups that were missed. Granted, tough contested layups, but layups nonetheless. Yeah, this is the Nicholls State. Did you say Colonels? Is that what they are?
Right.
The Colonels are on a 12-2 run in the last 5-11, and the Bears are currently, I believe, on a drought. They're one of their last 10 field goals. So, not a recipe for success. As Kwani misses from the line, everyone is missing from the line today. Holy crap.
We need to have got to save it for halftime, but we need to have a discussion about the quality of the Colonel as a sports nickname.
Is it a nickname or is it their mascot? Like it's the Nicholls State Colonels?
Both, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What was George Mason's? Isn't George Mason something along those lines too?
Like the Dukes? Yeah, there's the Dukes, right?
Are they the Dukes?
Yeah.
I just remember George Mason from that one NCAA tournament run, which was of course, outstanding.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure they're JMU Dukes.
George Mason University in Fairfax County. What are they? Oh no, they're the Patriot.
Oh, they're the Patriot. Oh wow. Maybe I'm thinking what George Mason was it? Somebody was
the George Mason Patriots, and it's not even like a. It says on the Wikipedia page. It says mascot is the Patriot, like literally. Does that mean they get Mel Gibson to come out like every home game? Is that how it works? Like contractually he has to be obliged to do so, right? And
I think they may have disassociated from him based on events since that movie came out, however long ago it was.
What a great movie, though. I absolutely love watching that movie.
So,
yeah, this is not
we failed to crest 25 points. We are not on pace for 50, and yet we have a 5-point lead. I mean, when you hire Mark Fox to coach your basketball team, these are the kind of games that you're going to get from time to time. You just tend to hope that they happen against
better opponents.
Yeah, a UCLA or an Arizona, and not against the Nicholls Colonels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Colonels are shooting 33.3% from the field, 16% from 3 on 6 attempts, 25% from the line, whereas the Bears actually shooting worse from the field, 26.7, but better from 3 and from the free throw line, 31.3% from beyond the arc and 50% from the free throw line on 4 attempts. So, yeah.
And we're in a 31 possession basketball game right now. So, you all can kind of do the math yourself and realize what we're staring at here. Holding the Nicholls State to below 0.6 of possession is impressive, even if they're, the weakest team on Cal's schedule. It's just that the Bears have completely refused to take advantage in any other way, largely because they can't hit a 2-point shot.
And I think that's the trend for the third straight game that Cal hasn't shot well.
In Oregon State, they were missing all their threes. I don't think they shot their twos all that well either. And let's see.
I think
who's been missing their 2-point shots.
Northwest was the exact opposite, right? Where we were making most of our twos. and we were missing our threes.
Kelly is 0 for 3 from 2. Anticevic is 0 for 3 from 2. Brown 0 for 1. Betley 0 for 1. Foreman 0 for 1. It's not any one particular culprit. It's just nobody can hit a 2-point shot, really.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we're still making points off of turnovers. We created 11 turnovers, 12 points off of that. Like, that was our bread and butter against Northwest, and what helped us get out to that lead too. And then everything else hasn't worked. Nothing else.
And
seems
2 for 6 on layups, right?
Yeah.
And I guess here they counted that one weak dunk attempt separately from the layup.
Yep.
So 2 for 7. It's gotta finish. Yeah.
Yeah, you got that also paired with Nicholls State making 12 points in the paint versus our 4. And, Ray mentioned we have the definite size advantage. We definitely cannot seem to use that size advantage.
I like a lot of what I saw on defense.
From a setup perspective?
Granted, this is a team that we should be doing something along these lines too. We should be shutting down a team like Nicholls State. If we're playing the way a Mark Fox coach team should be playing, but we denied them 3-point attempts. We slowed them down. Like, this is a team that wants to get shots off quickly, and they didn't. I don't recall anything down inside that wasn't contested. We cleaned up on the glass, although they're not a very good rebounding team, so we should be doing that. We forced more turnovers than I would have expected as well. We got it. We were more disruptive than generally when we saw last year. Nicholls State, at least so far this year, has been pretty good about holding onto the ball. They're not hugely turnover prone, I don't think. So, the fact that we were so disruptive is a nice sign.
I think it's hilarious that 2 years of Viking Jones, the system he wanted to implement was a turnover creating havoc defense that led to, pushing and scoring from the perimeter. And clearly over the first 3 games of the season under Mark Fox, that's kind of the identity it looks like we're trying to build. That, with the young team, they're trying to get those turnovers. They're trying to push the pace a little bit and get out in transition with Matt Bradley on the other guys. And to somewhat successful, right? But like, we weren't doing that under Viking. Like, man, time is a flat circle.
The numbers are so sad.
Yeah.
Anytime I go back and look at them.
2 years of Viking, man. That was already 3 years ago. Wow.
In other important topics, I just had to look it up. So a colonel is, in fact, in the military units that use it, like one step below a general. So I guess it's not super embarrassing, but it just seems weird. Like, if you decide, we're gonna name our team after a military rank of some kind, why would you go for second best? Like, there isn't a team named the Vice Presidents.
Well, maybe there are.
None that are in D1 basketball.
Or Viceroy. Sounds like somebody could be
the vice chief.
I guess you do have Bruins when an obviously superior choice of the same species is available, but it just seems weird to me that you would deliberately choose something less than the best for yourself.
Right. I mean, if you're going for the cute factor of, like, we're going to go for the baby version of the adult version, like, okay, maybe that works. Maybe that sells some more shirts. But, you had the generals right there. Like it was right there for the taking.
Maybe they're
Though-
worried about the Globetrotters
Oh,
Ah.
comparison.
Rick,
Rick
one of
is
our writers,
correct
Rick
us.
in the chat says colonel is the highest rank, and a general must be appointed by the Senate.
Is this now? Do colonels actually exist in the American Army?
I
Because
think
I
so.
kind of got the sense
Yeah.
when I searched it that a colonel was like kind of archaic. Maybe
Doesn't
like more
exist
of a
anymore?
British term.
It's they say it's nominated
It's
by
a
voters and
Force.
confirmed by
It's an Air
Senate.
Force colonel for sure. Yeah.
I've heard the
Yeah,
term
okay.
lieutenant colonel a lot. I haven't heard the word just colonel often.
So apparently, an Air Force colonel is the equivalent to the rank of a captain in the Navy and Coast Guard.
That's kind of sucks.
And colonels are usually group or wing commanders in the Air Force. So maybe this is Nicholls states are more of a flyers. They're a part of the Air Force.
Now, who established the colonel first? Was it Colonel Sanders or was it Nicholls State? Because if he has the right to the fried chicken recipe, and was the colonel first, then I don't think Nicholls State has a real good claim here that they were like a good choice to call themselves their colonel.
I guess they are. It is a Louisiana school, and I for some reason, colonel as a rank I seem to associate with Southern, maybe Confederacy.
Yep.
I don't know if this is some situation along those lines. Hopefully, the school isn't named after some old Confederate colonel.
You know what? We can take a look.
Right. I mean, right. Other than Colonel Sanders, the other colonel that is, I guess, Colonel Tom. It was Elvis's manager. That was something I learned on the trip to Ole Miss via Memphis last year.
There's a great SNL sketch about colonels, but it's not super safe for discussion if you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
The namesake is from Francis Redding Tillu. I'm gonna butcher that for sure. Tillu Nicholls, a 2-term Louisiana governor and Louisiana Supreme Court Chief Justice. Now, time to look up Francis Redding Nicholls if there's anything on him.
We're going down a rabbit hole that's
We're
deeper
going down
than
a
we
rabbit
thought
hole,
right now.
He was a politician, attorney, judge, and brigadier general in the Confederate States Army during the Civil War.
No,
That's
the truth comes out. They're literally named after a Confederate. I shouldn't even be surprised.
A literal Confederate brigadier general is who they're named after.
Good times.
Mm-hmm.
But was he a colonel? No?
He was a brigadier general, which is. Let me see what a brigadier general is. I love this thing of Wikipedia where you just keep clicking and go down this rabbit hole. These generals were most often infantry or cavalry brigade commanders, aides to high-ranking generals, and War Department staff officials. By the war's end, the Confederacy had at least 383 different men who held this rank, including the likes of Samuel Cooper, Robert E. Lee, and Joseph E. Johnston. Huh. This rank is equivalent to the brigadier general in the modern U.S. Army. But yes, Nicholls State is named after a Confederate brigadier general who also served as the governor of the state of Louisiana.
I wish I could be surprised, but I can't say I am.
Was it a different time or?
Yeah, Rick says the highest general during peacetime is a 4-star general, and the brigadier general is a 1-star general. Finally, my time in Army JROTC as a lieutenant colonel pays off.
I'm sadly not going to retain much of this information.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Let's see. So back to the basketball side of things. I'm looking at who we played in the first half. And again, we got 10 guys minutes, but granted,
one guy goes down. And
yeah, about
changes the
they don't
rotation.
they're not even crediting Monty with a minute in the box score. I guess he was on the court for like a possession, and Thorpe only got a minute himself.
What's Lars at? 5?
Yeah, I know I saw he started and then was like the first guy pulled after 2 minutes and then came back in for another 2-3 minute stretch. Kwani got 3 minutes. So kind of the similar pattern that we've seen to the Oregon State game, with the main 6 rotation guys getting a healthy portion of the minutes and everybody else kind of contributing scattered minutes around them.
Yeah, I do think that Lars came in more, or his minutes increased after Bowser went down. It felt like, they gave Lars the start and was going to give him shortened bursts, and then when Monty goes down, I think it changed the big man rotation and immediately had to go play Lars more, which
maybe. I would think that Grant, I would think that Monty would be playing in place of Anticevic as sort of the stretch 4 type of guy.
They had moments the last 2 games where they would play like the 2 forwards, right? Where they would play like an Anticevic and Kwani, or like a Kwani and like Thorpe, or like that rotation.
We've got 5 minutes for Thiemann, 14 minutes for Kelly, and 1 minute for Thorpe. So that adds up to 20 total minutes for the centers on the roster. Have we run a roster without one of those 3 players on the court this year? I assume no.
I feel like we did see that last game. Am I making things up?
I missed the exhibition, so he might have run with some experimental lineups.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw a lineup where one of them was not on the court. But I also don't consider Kelly like a true center anyways. I consider him more of as a forward. So if you run that 3-guard 2-forward look, like, in college basketball of yesteryear.
The way I kind of divide them up is I classify the guys as centers as the guys who play on the block, who would
take up the post-ups and
ever shoot a 3 in a normal situation. Versus guys like Kwani, Anticevic, maybe Bowser, guys who are nominally forwards, but like can play more as wings. They're going to stretch the court a little more.
Mm-hmm. You're looking at like the 6'9" power forward, right? Who's a little bit of a shooter.
4.
Yeah, the stretch 4. I don't know. I'm still confused at the rotation. One thing's for sure. I think one thing is for sure over these 3 games is that the thing that Nick hated the most last season, we haven't done this year, which is force balls into the low post.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we play with a true center who at times looks to post up, we don't force it in there every single game.
Yeah, and I'm okay with, obviously, having a center on the court is totally fine if encouraged even. And I don't, generally want to be throwing the ball in for post-ups, but, posting up to at least keep the defense honest and create the threat is okay. It's a shame that we haven't been able to, at least in this game yet, sort of get guards moving towards the basket in a way that would free up space for the forwards to finish. We're not creating open shots inside, and I don't know what we need to do that.
Right.
Maybe some more high screen and rolls, but it seems like that's not something that we're gonna do often to set up the offense. It seems like a lot of the pick and rolls that we're doing come off the wing. And then that in itself creates like that little backdoor cut maybe from that wing that's cutting in off the big that's screening up. And we saw that's how Bowser got hurt, right? He was cutting down after the Lars, and then Lars kind of tipped it down to him.
Yeah, we have been trying to run some high-low action on occasion. I need to start paying more attention to how we're moving guys around, what kind of screens we're trying to set on offense.
All right, and we begin the second half.
Let's see if we
are
can.
back.
A little bit more offense would be nice. Get a perfectly decent shot. One of the things that's worth noting is, I think, just sort of the way that Nicholls State plays defense is they leave three-point shooters open, almost by design. And so we're pretty easily able to get open threes. And in a weird way, based on our 2-point shooting, you should argue that maybe we should be shooting even more threes. It's been our best offense.
Right.
And right as I say that we don't force passes into the post, we try to go over the top, and clearly the back help defender is right there to help with the steal. We forced that pass.
Lars posting up on a single team is probably not good offense. Lars posting up on a double team and passing it to him then is suicidal offense.
Oh, what's the basketball term for a Hail Mary? Is it a Steph Curry heave? No, because that has more chance of going in.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what the term for a basketball Hail Mary is.
I mean, what we just saw there. Ooh, nice rebound from Grant. That was more of like the quarterback throwing across his body into two linebackers.
That's good D from Matt. And you can't complain there with that shot made. And we have a tie game, folks.
Wait, what?
What? Yeah. All of a sudden, you're way ahead. Like,
I'm Cal's up 5 on my screen.
right, yeah, same here. And now I just expect everything they shoot to go down there.
Yep.
Like I just saw Cal turn the ball over.
And then Nicholls State drains a 3 from the logo.
Do we turn it over immediately again?
Yeah, that was a bad entry pass.
Yep. I'm not
he took that from there? What?
I'm not particularly fond of Mikhail Foreman with the ball running the point. I'm not fond of that. He hasn't shown any ability to keep the ball safe and secure. It seems he's very loose with his dribble too.
It's concerning that we had a really bad offensive half, and 2 of our first few possessions in the second half, now a third that I'm watching, looks like we got bailed out with a foul.
Oh, thank God.
Entries.
Oh, thank God.
Like what bad post entries too. Like,
yeah.
Are they being told to feed the post more in this game? If so, why?
Because clearly we're getting open looks from 3, which means they're crowding the paint, and yet we're forcing it into the paint.
Like there was one of the possessions where Grant actually had a nice take. That's better. We get Matt open. You know, like those sort of threes are going to be open a lot. Maybe not that wide open. You know, I don't presume they don't want to leave Matt Bradley with 10 feet of space in the corner. But
oh Lord,
we can get
Ryan Bentley. Good Lord. Oh, Kwani. Oh, me likey. All right, so some good movement to look forward to.
Yeah, because when you were praising Ryan Batley, he was missing a shot on my screen.
Yeah, I was going to say,
what are
I
you
just
talking
saw
about?
him miss a 3 as well. A nice block from Kwani. I presume that was...
Mm-hmm.
That was almost a turnover, but it was good hands from Kwani to snare that pass.
I like Kwani running that pick and roll there. Like, I'm a fan of it.
He's intriguing, as I've mentioned in various points all off season. He's, the length, the shooting ability, the athleticism.
Do you think he took a big step forward this offseason?
We've seen no real evidence of it yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay.
But he has a very unique skill set from the small sample size that we've seen. And that's the thing is I don't think we've ever had a player like him at Cal before, right? Like a guy who's like 6'10", who is good in the pick and roll game, but also has an outside shot, like, and
the minutes
athletic.
he's received so far suggests that the coaching staff doesn't believe he's taken a leap yet.
Mm-hmm.
But we're only 2.5 games into the season, so
right. And these are the games where you play everybody. So
yeah, well, at least we've appeared to have woken up from the 17-2 run. My goodness,
Damn it,
you don't
Mikhail.
realize how bad these runs are when they happen across halftime.
Yeah, I don't want Mikhail Foreman as the point guard. I love him as an off-ball guy if he gets that kick out and he can dribble drive and do something. But as the primary, oh man, he's turning the ball over like left and right, is really, really wild on drives. Like that offensive turnover right there. Like that's not a necessary, like you don't need to jump into that.
On the other hand, he's too short for the refs to justify ever calling a charge on him. You should be ashamed as a player if you draw a charge against him. If a charge doesn't hurt, it shouldn't count. But yeah, we're seeing the problem of not having Jared Hyder available. We have no choice but to play an off guard at point guard. And I don't want to get too negative, but point guard was a roster problem that needed to be addressed through recruiting for like
2-3 years.
Yeah, like it's a problem that the coaching staff, I'm sure, knew they needed to address, and they couldn't get a guy to sign on until they started having to offer like literally any transfer available.
I mean,
and
if you go back, Nick and Ray, like who do you think is the last like true point guard that we've had like since a freshman?
I mean, Ty Wallace is presumably the obvious guess. I mean, if we really wanted to get depressing, we could talk about how many players we've actually managed to get.
Sorry, what was the question? Like a point guard
when's the last like true point
freshman?
guard we got? Yeah, or it doesn't even need to be the impact freshman, but just like a true point guard, right? Like we've had
Charlie
off guard.
Charlie Moore before
Charlie Moore.
Oh, I thought you were asking for guys that we held on for 4 years.
I was thinking about guys we held on for. For enough time to make an impact, right?
Right.
I mean, you could argue that like there were years where we didn't even have a true point guard on the roster. Like Darius McNeil was always more.
Yeah, he was an off guard.
Yeah. Don Coleman was a shooting guard. These are part of the reasons that the Konzo era crashed and burned. Those reasons for that are, of course, are a dime a dozen.
You could also make the argument that Ty Wallace, that Ivan Rabb Jalen team didn't have a true point guard.
Yeah, Ty was always sort of a combo guard. I mean, Sam Singer, obviously, he's a true point guard who stayed for 4 years.
Right.
Sam's probably the last true point guard that arrived on campus as a freshman and stayed for 4 years. I guess Ty, you could throw him in. He's a combo guard, I guess, but at least, you could play him at point and not feel like you were doing something undesirable. And he also stayed for 4 years.
Yeah, the only thing with Ty, the only thing with Ty was just like his freshman year, right? He's playing next to Cobbs and to Alan Crabb, and he's playing as that third wing. Like and I still remember like his freshman year, like after his freshman year on NBA draft boards, he was as high as 13th. After his freshman year, they loved his size. They loved his ability to guard 1 through 3, like and his athleticism. And then it just kind of just plateaued. Though I do think he was a good enough point guard for the college game. I don't think his game translated. The modern game had bypassed him already because he wasn't a good enough perimeter shooter.
Yeah. Of course, really, what your question gets at here is the issue of how few 4-year players we've had since.
Oh my goodness!
All the dudes that graduated at the end of the last year under Konzo.
But yeah, I mean, it's also to be expected now. We had the too many coaching change, and
Yeah.
players are volatile. Even if
Yep.
they don't go pro, they leave. Yeah.
The semi fun conversation to be had. I don't know if it's going to be a fun conversation. Is I would say for lack of a better term, bust rate of recruits over our last 3 head coaches, and there's a case to be made that Viking and that staff actually had the best player eval system out of our last 3 coaches.
That's an interesting question because there were some obvious hits and also some pretty obvious misses. Like he gave out some scholarships that he shouldn't have given out, and then screwed with kids'
Scholarships,
college careers as a consequence.
Yep.
But the hits count certainly.
Yeah, because I mean, you get 5-star kids; those kids hit no matter what, right? It's just they're 5-star talents, but it's the high 4 stars, the mid-tier 4 stars, and the 3 stars that you have to have good evals for.
Mm-hmm. And you got to develop them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, right.
Seeing what Connor Vanover is doing over at Arkansas right now, seeing what Justice did in his first start for Ohio State, and Darius,
which was entirely unsurprising, sadly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, compared to I guess we had the somewhat bust of John Winston and Austin McCullough and such, but Konzo had his fair share, right, of the Domingo recruit from via transfer, the Roman Davis,
Roger
Mute-Abidius. Like there were guys that had promise but just never got to that point, or were just straight up they thought that they were diamonds in the rough, and I don't think they ever got enough dust off of that diamond.
Yeah. Konzo's problem was always that he would aim very high on recruiting, which you have to do, but if he didn't hit the high targets, his backup plans were often not super clear.
He hit 1 year out of his 3 years here, like, to be totally frank, and that's not a good a good way to build a program. I mean, of course, unless you're like the Dukes and the Kentuckys of the world, where you're going to get at least a couple 5-star guys every single year.
Well, and of course, he was starting to hit again, and then he left. We had Charlie, and you saw enough from Charlie Moore at the beginning of his career that you thought he'd be a good college player, but he never really caught on anywhere else.
I honestly think if he had stayed here, he could have turned into our version of Isaiah Thomas down the line.
Does make you wonder.
Mm-hmm. I think he was very much fit for the game here on the West Coast, and particularly in the Pac-12. But I think when he went to Kansas, which is what the Big 10, 12, Big 12, Big 12, it's just the size difference just changes, and the way they play is different. It's based off of their wings and a lot of their bigs and.
Well, and also he was going to get recruited over at Kansas.
100% he did too.
True.
All right. So we're winning this game because we're shooting lots of threes and hitting them, but we're not pulling away in this game because we're not doing much of anything else offensively. So keep shooting threes, I guess.
I mean, we're missing pretty much everything from 2. Like it's actually hilarious.
Problem. Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable, really.
Anticevic is 1 of 7, and the one he made was a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Bentley and Foreman both are 2 of 7 from the field and 2 of 6 from 3. So Oh,
And again, like we have the size advantage, and it just
we're not
going
doing
in.
anything with it.
Yeah,
We're literally doing nothing with it.
Hey, there's one. Andre Kelly got a bucket inside.
Thank you.
Took him to 2 attempts, but I'll take it.
mm-hmm.
And then he fouls on the other end.
Right.
Great.
Do we have to worry about foul trouble for anybody? Probably not.
I don't think so. I think we're pretty much in. Everyone has like either 1 or 2. I don't think there's anyone beyond.
Right.
That's either a bad call or a really unnecessary foul from Kelly to sort of like foul from behind the play when the shot was already away.
Yep.
I'd like to get a second look at that.
Probably show it right when we get back from the commercial break. But
From the creepy talking turtles.
oh man, it's. I was optimistic after our first 2 games. Now my optimism has sizably waned.
In a weird way, I don't know, Nicholls State is just not good enough for me to say anything with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
In a weird way, I find this encouraging because, like I said after the Oregon State game, that I wanted to see signs of better defense, and they have shown that today. Like the defense has been excellent. I don't think that's too high praise, but they're still shooting lots of threes.
I was just going to say, I somehow got a Cal U Pennsylvania ad here in the middle of this game. I was just like, what is going on? I guess it's regional. Yeah.
California University in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Give me a B.
Give
me a
U. Falcons. Yeah.
Give me a U.
Sorry.
Give me a C. Give me a U. Give me a
Tristan
pen.
Hook is very excited right now.
What do you see? You see pen. Oh boy.
But yeah, we are seeing, I think, the effects of point guard issues. And like, I'm gonna have to look at the stats. Let's see. Let's see what Joel Brown has done today.
Not great.
Joel Brown.
Yep.
Like that's okay. That's just the second half box score. That's not going to help. Whole game.
2 fouls. I think that's
0 for 1, 1 assist, 3 turnovers,
2 fouls
in 11 minutes. Yeah. That's not very much playing time. Well,
11 minutes and about 30 minutes of game time.
And there was always a concern that Joel Brown last year showed that he was immediately a contributing defender at point and wasn't really offering anything on offense. And so you had to hope that something would change offensively in the offseason.
Good Lord.
Games in, we haven't seen any evidence of that.
Mike, what is going on?
It's hard to run a modern offense without point guards.
I feel like as soon as we talk about certain players or certain plays, they do something bad. Like Nick, we just talked about Joel Brown.
That was technically not a turnover by Joel Brown, but yeah, that was
a close to one.
Yep.
It would have been great if we'd hit that 3. He would have had the ugliest hockey assist of all time.
Right.
Though I am surprised we didn't go to Bentley, I think, who was up top. We went to Matt, who was in the short corner that had a man on him. I think Bentley up top actually didn't have anyone on him.
And reasonably open corner 3 either way. Tough to go wrong. You know, when you throw up a ball blindly like that, it does tend to bend the defense out of shape a little bit. I'm trying to decide at what point I'm going to worry about us actually losing this game. I don't think I'm there yet.
I think the game has to get a little bit. I think it has to go under like 7 minutes, and the game has to be like a 1 or 2 possession game.
Yeah. think Joel Brown just got called for the foul there.
Yeah.
Yep.
As Avi joins us in the chat, he says Anticevic is 4 of 17 on the season. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the guys on the Cal team doesn't have good shooting for the season.
Yep. Oh, thank you.
Man, Joel Brown's stat line is concerning right now.
Mm-hmm.
3 turnovers, 3 fouls, no baskets, 1 assist.
Well,
Well,
he makes up for it on this following play. Defensively, once again.
I was
Very,
about to
very
ask,
good.
what I'm
Mhm.
seeing on the offense right now is Joel Brown on the court, but not running point. He uses off guard.
okay, I see. I see what
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
Ray got to the point that I was talking about. I think Nick is about to reach it.
Quick hands.
Yeah. Well, and he's going to have to be like, unless something changes about his offense, for him to see court time, he has to be really impactful defensively.
He has to average close to three steals a game. Like I that's probably the only way I see him getting meaningful minutes outside of
And
like
they'd have to be
into
they'd have to be, like,
transition, right?
steals that, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that leads to transition.
Right.
It's like that steal is useful. It kills the possession for the other team, but
It doesn't
we can't
immediately
run out of
result
it.
in points. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh boy. Is that? It's like I feel like I know what Mark Fox wants to do with this roster composition, but like sometimes in games, I'm like, what does he really want to do with this roster composition on the court?
Got a pretty good shot on that possession I just saw. Ended in a Bentley missed 3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good take. They just left it short.
And I don't know how good a sense Mark Fox does have of what he wants to do, because like, let's think about how this team was built. Cal goes after various freshman recruits, whiffs on almost all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
They have to scramble to send out a bunch of offers last minute to grad transfers and any point guard who's available. They finally, like late in the recruiting process, as late as it gets, they get Betley and Foreman and Hyder.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go through the most disruptive offseason of like modern college basketball history in terms of disrupting practice time, conditioning, availability. Then one of those desperation players gets declared ineligible for the season because the NCAA is a useless organization. This is not a situation where Fox is like really picking out the players that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like anybody he can get last minute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he knows how to build
Thank you.
off of these teams.
Yes. No, I think you're right. I mean, he had what? If we're looking at just guys he brought in, right, this recruiting cycle, just from a number standpoint, he had 5 scholarships to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And only 2 resulted in actual freshman commitments. So you're expecting to then what you're expecting to do is bring in experience from those 3, and you brought in experience, but even then, they aren't Power 5 tested experience. Well, actually, one kind of is in Jared Hyder because he's played some Power 5 teams. And in basketball, I don't think Power 5 is as big. I think there's a few teams in the middle that are beyond that. But so yeah, you bring in 2 guys with untested, or like will their games translate? You just don't know. And then on top of that fact, those guys aren't guys that you're developing over 4 years. It's a guy you expect to contribute immediately for the year. Technically now 2 years.
Well, and even the freshmen that we did get, I'm not. Was Monty one of our top choices? He might have been. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Celestine was a backup offer.
Celestine definitely was a backup. I think Monty was definitely one of our first choices off the bat. I think they really liked him from Bishop O'Dowd.
Yeah.
They were in on. I know they were in on him early. So with Monty down the road, if you have a 4-star down the road and you're lacking talent, like you have to secure that commitment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This game is pretty clean from a foul standpoint too. Not a lot of shooting fouls.
It's amazing that we're sitting here. We're about to hit the under 8 timeout in the second half. Cal has 40 points, and they have a 2-possession lead.
Yeah. My goodness. Oh, Mikhail, man.
Yeah. So what's happening with recruiting now? I assume a lot of high school seasons are also over, right? Or are the whatever AAU balls still playing despite COVID?
I think AAU ball for basketball happens in the summers. That's when all your like tournaments are.
Right.
I don't know if they actually had AAU tournaments this summer. I'm sure they might have had regional like tournaments and shows, but talent shows, but I don't think there was like any of like the big time traveling stuff. Who knows if that happens this upcoming summer? But from a recruiting standpoint, I think most high schools will probably start playing basketball soon-ish because football season's like wrapping up for most high schools, and then they'll definitely do basketball. If they did football, they'll do basketball. I
should be
don't
easier
I don't,
to implement, but
doubt. I don't doubt that they won't do it. So,
but in terms of player evaluation,
I think
this could be an opportunity or just the opposite. Right?
I think it's really weird because you can't. I don't know. I would love to get Nick's take on this. Like, do you think it's a net positive or net negative that we can't go out and see players in person?
Huh. In theory, I could imagine that a resourceful college coach could find a way to take advantage of the uncertainty surrounding everything. Maybe a coach with lots of contacts in the high school community, guys that he trusts to evaluate players for him. What I've come to believe about college basketball in the modern era is that you just have to be constantly resourceful, constantly reevaluating your roster because there's so much player movement. Mark Fox, I don't know the extent that he has those sort of connections. I mean, maybe his connections with USA Basketball means he's met some guys. At the same time, his roster management at Georgia was very stable, which is probably to his credit that he identified and kept guys on the roster. But I don't think he was sort of forced to operate in I need to be recruiting like 4 and 5 guys every single year because there's just so much turnover.
Mm-hmm.
The way that like guys like Dana Altman and Sean Miller know how to fill unexpected roster slots that come open. Like you can kind of see it with some of the flyer scholarships that Fox has offered just to fill slots that maybe haven't really turned into useful rotation players.
I do not like that shot from Mikhail Foreman, and that was bad. That was real bad.
I mean, that was 5 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, and it's like it's a bad miss. I mean, his numbers are great. I want to see him do well, but man,
I don't hate the shot in that. I don't know if we were going to get anything better, but the problem is what were we running to try to get something better?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like what I would say, what I'm feeling about this team is I like our shot selection better.
We just
I
haven't made
don't
those
really
shots.
see it. Well, but I don't see a whole lot different in our process to create shots. So, like, there's what the offense can create, and then the shot that we choose to take within what we create. So we're not creating great shots, but to the extent that what we are creating, I'm fine with what we're attempting. But we need to create better things, and I don't know if there's a formula for creating better shots right now.
Lord, that Nicholls State big had a free layup and he decided to pivot back to his other foot. See, now this next play you'll see where Grant drains a three. If you watch the play build up, I think that's exactly why you probably post up those big guys and what they did earlier, because he gets inside positioning on his defender, and then when the guy basket cuts right in front of him, Grant just kind of slips all the way out to the 3-point line, because he's thinking, I think the defender's thinking he's just going to try and back me up, so he's letting him go, and positioning wise he's already out, right? His back is already towards Grant. There's no way he's going to turn around and close that speed in time. So I like it if that's the setup, but as you said, we need to make those shots if they're going to be effective.
Well, and what you just saw was the power of the stretch four.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's not exactly something that we can do with Grant or Andre or DJ.
Or we need another Grant Supernova game. Just like the one we got last year. All right, Joel. I don't mind that.
So Grant sets the screen. Joel rolls. Gets fouled before the Andre putback.
It's actually a really good, nice move because he hop steps to the other side of the basket, and I don't think the defender realized he was hop stepping. I think the defender thought he was going up for like maybe a little quick floater. So he has the foot speed. Like, I don't think I've seen a guard with his just athletics, straight line speed at that position for us in quite some time.
With the ball handling, he really need to.
Yeah.
I mean, he can get there, but if the ball doesn't get there,
yeah, his body is way ahead of the ball. That's for sure. Oh, and exactly what we talked about. Joel Brown creating steals that create transition buckets. I mean, he's fast enough to play those passing lanes. If you're lazy with the passes, when Joel gets playing that short lane, he's gonna get to him.
Well, it's just the ability to be fast and get in those lanes means that you're either cutting off the pass entirely or stealing it if they decide to make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's better. Mm-hmm. We're gonna win the race to 50.
Yeah, and I think Nicholls State is starting to miss some shots, which that'll do it.
So I would argue they've been missing shots all game, but I won't argue. Or what I just saw is spinning aimlessly out of bounds.
Yep.
Looks like Joel was like hiding behind Grant on that.
Yeah.
Steal.
the little peekaboo. He just jumped out of there and then grabbed it with two hands, and then you're not going to catch him.
Oh, even Matt's just losing the
right,
ball.
Yeah, that was not a good passing.
What are we doing?
I don't know if he lost it first and then just. But...
16 turnovers, gentlemen. 16. Breaking. Deshaun Collins is in the portal. Am I surprised? No, because he wasn't on the roster and he wasn't on the COVID opt-out list. So I assumed.
I maybe thought that had happened already. I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Avi breaks news that none of us really think is breaking news. As we go
Thank
to
goodness
the under 4
for Damian
timeout.
Moore.
Damian Moore, baby.
That might probably seal the game.
I think you're right. Give me more Damian Moore. Give me some DeCarlos Brooks time. Give me some Chris Street. Just give me more of those guys.
That was a nice pass from Joel Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of disguised it a little bit, put it right in the pocket for Grant.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of thing that we need to see more of from him if he's going to be able to be a long-term contributor.
Right. I mean, because we know what his positives are, right? Which is the straight line speed, the ability to create turnovers on defense and play those passing lanes. And his passing ability is actually not bad. Like, he has good vision. It's just a lot of those passes are either off the hands, like they don't catch him, or he takes the super risky approach in terms of his passing decision because he wants to, get those points.
I mean, he's probably the best passer on the roster. That's
right.
Not saying much, unfortunately.
Super high praise, but I'm trying to see who's got the highest assist percentage on the team right now.
Foreman has 5.
No, it's kind of pointless to even. It's actually is. Joel Brown does have the highest assist percentage on the team entering the game, subtracting Monty Bowser's small sample size assist percentage. I think he led the team last year in assist percentage. Let me confirm that. He was just a touch behind Paris Austin.
But that also makes sense because Paris Austin's usage in minutes was probably double of what Joel was.
Well, of course, assist rate is a tempo adjusted stat as well. So, but it kind of last year we had 2 point guards who struggled to pass the ball at times. It's not for lack of trying, just
ball dominant,
inexperience, stagnant offense, what have you.
Cameron Hayes says, "Love the passion you guys have. Go Bears!" Thank you. We appreciate it. That's pretty much all we got.
Why we do it,
right?
And Darth D'Artagnan says, "I turn the game on and we go on a run. We start going on a run." Well, I guess that means you just have to tune in earlier now. Like, you're legally obliged to do that.
I was gonna say, with this bizarre start time, there's probably a decent number of West Coasters getting home from their commute.
Oh, and we go out and transition again.
TV.
Oh no. Oh, okay. No, never mind. It's not oh no. He's all right.
Okay,
you'll see.
Okay.
Somebody must be hurt because otherwise there's nothing that could happen that would elicit that kind of reaction. With this,
3-on-1 and okay.
Bradley takes a hard fall.
That's a hard fall, but
he lands directly onto his right hip.
He got up.
It's the second time in this game that we've had a guy go up and expect contact.
Not get it.
Totally off balance as a consequence.
Yeah, the Nicholls State defense apparently just the Olay.
It just moved out of the way.
Yeah, you see the guy. He's like, you know what? I can't stop Bradley. I'm not going to get the foul call here. I'm getting out of the way.
Avi asks, who are the top hoops recruiting targets in 2021? Well, our 2021 recruiting class is pretty much already done. So I don't know if we have any more recruiting targets. For 2022, that's a totally different question. But 2021, barring us getting maybe someone decides to transfer or move, this is the 3 guys we brought in, which is Sam Elajiki, Obina Anunyau. Oh my goodness, I butchered his name badly, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. I make it a point that I try not to butcher prospective players' names, but clearly I did. Obina Anyanwu, Sam Alajiki, who is the kid from Ireland. Awesome. Like, he has an Irish accent. I've said this to Nick so many times. I absolutely love it. And then
He's going to
Marsalis.
average 30 points a game.
And then Marsalis Roberson, the shooting guard, who I really like from Bishop O'Dowd. So that's back-to-back years where we pick up a Bishop O'Dowd kid.
So let's see. So we have 3 players coming in, and they will replace Foreman, Betley, and Grant.
Well,
who are
see,
graduating.
that's the thing. This year's a mulligan. All 3 of those guys could come back.
True.
I don't know how the grad school situation works, because I think Bentley and Foreman are already in grad school here. So if they're in a longer than 1 year program, they could stick around. But for Grant, that's the big question: is what does he decide
he's
to do?
probably set to graduate.
Right.
But do we actually have room for them if they want to stay? Because
I think what they said was, like, if you're a senior, I think if I'm reading the rules right, it means if you're a senior or a grad transfer and you're in this mulligan year, your scholarships won't count towards the max the following season if you decide to play again, regardless of what school you play at. And then, because then by that point it comes back to normal, right? The year after, if you just negate those scholarships, just give them the free pass. That's my understanding of how it works.
The implications of all of that are so complicated for every coach and player's roster decisions.
Yep.
Those guys have to decide, if they want to move on with their lives or not. The coaches have to figure out what everyone's going to do. If you're a younger player and all of a sudden all the guys who you thought were going to be leaving are going to be sticking around, you have to decide, like, am I going to get playing time here that I thought I was going to get? It's such a gigantic mess.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think the only option. Yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to figure out is how many guys we would be going after in the 2022 recruiting class. Because if it were normal, Bradley and Kelly would be the only guys set to graduate. So, we'd be thinking like 2 slots, maybe 1 or 2 other guys, depending on if there was some transfers or something. But trying to plan out how many slots you might have to fill in the 2022 class is an interesting challenge.
Yep. I mean, it's also because all the guys that we had come in with either Bradley or the year before, they've already left.
Right.
What are you doing, Joel? My goodness. No. My gosh. I don't think there's a single coach in the world that would say that was a smart pass.
Oh, that was.
Well, he got another steal, although it kind of got airmailed to him.
It was a fantastic. If he made the pass, it would have been fantastic.
That was. I guess we were up by 13 with a minute and a half.
I would probably say Steve Nash. Steve Nash and Jason Kidd are probably the 2 guys that can get away with that pass.
Well, we've cleared 50 points. Anything
I think we're
beyond
safe.
that is gauche. We're not a team that, come on, what do you want, 60 points? You greedy man, you.
In what seems like a very quick game. It's still it was still a 2-hour game, but man, it seemed like it went by fast.
Well, we tipped it
4:30?
5:35 and it's or 4:35 and it's not 6:30 yet.
Plenty of time for a nice dinner. Oh,
We got some takeout Chinese we're about to dip into.
Sounds lovely.
So when is the ASU game? Oh,
that's on Thursday.
No.
Ish.
What time? This time, or
I can look that up for you. I think it might be a 6 p.m. start. I shall look that up right now. Schedule of the basketball team. The Bears play Arizona State on Thursday at 7 p.m. on Pac-12 Network.
Wow, that's
Somebody's up till midnight.
really.
Well, the
We
game
are
has to.
not finishing this game out.
Yeah,
in style
this
right now.
game got really sloppy there.
Yeah.
Mark Fox not happy.
All we need to do is not throw the ball to the other team and run out clock.
Well,
I mean, who cares? I guess we're up double digits, or were until that last sequence. But
I think Nick answered your question, D'Artagnan. He said, "Do we get to 65 points?" Nick would call you a greedy
Not
man.
not allowed.
He also asks,
I mean, this season in the game, or
this season? Do you think we get to 65 games this season? 65 points?
65 point in it.
I mean, I could tell you precisely how often we did that against Pac-12 opposition last year. We should be better offensively and maybe a little bit less deliberate than last year. Let's see.
I think we're shooting more threes this year, right? So
we are shooting a lot more threes this year.
that helps if you make it.
We scored 73 points in a win over Washington State. 72 in a loss to Oregon.
We scored 72 against Oregon?
We scored over 65 points 6 times in Pac-12 play last year. One of them did require overtime, although I think we got to 65 before overtime. Oh,
Man,
no, we didn't. We were not at... Wait. Okay, we were at 65 before overtime.
They're down 8, and they are full court pressing and trapping.
Yeah, well, it's practice, I guess.
I don't blame him, but...
Well, here's another question from
it's
D'Artagnan boys. Over under 7.5 conference wins this season.
Ken Palm has us at 6.
I'd say that's a
projection.
Push.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you have if you had a 1.5 gap between the metrics and Vegas, you would, if Larry were with us, he would be slamming the under. This team should have enough 3-point shooting that there's going to be a game where Bentley and Foreman
they go off.
And
Bradley
are all hitting their shots at the same time. Hopefully we do that against, a team
Arizona,
that I hate and
Oregon.
ruin their season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for
and not against, say, Washington State, a team we could beat without shooting the lights out.
Now you just spoke it into existence.
Yeah,
now you just it's gonna happen now.
But is the inverse also going to happen, right? Or are we going to lose to Oregon State again, or something?
Yeah. We're gonna shoot the lights out against Oregon State, but then Oregon State is also gonna shoot the lights out, and then we're just gonna lose by 3. It's bound to happen now.
So is it really cold in Haas Pavilion for some reason? What's the deal with the hoods that these governors or colonels or whatever are wearing on the sidelines?
I mean, they're from the South, right? So maybe.
I think it could be cold.
They got to get back to. Maybe
it could be cold without the people there.
Without the humidity.
Granted, it's not like there have been a lot of people there over the last 2 seasons, anyways. But a really empty stadium. There's really no reason for them to even turn on the heater, right? Because there's not people there. It's just the team, and they're running around and they're exerting heat, if anything. So, well, that and
a bunch of walk-ons wearing the hoods.
Yeah, and the few press guys. So. Avi asks us early Cal ASU predictions for Thursday. Got anything? Well,
I don't. Why is Matt Bradley shooting?
There's a technical
foul called?
Yeah, technical on number 31 Jones.
I don't recall seeing anything contact-wise.
It might have been just some trash talking, yeah, and they're still yapping at each other.
All the
Yeah,
times to trash talk when you're losing by
double digits.
7 points with less than 30 seconds to play. Presumably, Matt told them, "God, guys, just let us win this stupid game, so you can go back to Louisiana where it's not cold."
Or are they going to Moraga? Right?
Are they going to St. Mary's? Are they playing St. Mary's?
Yeah,
They're playing St.
yeah.
Mary's, right? Might be
Yeah,
heading to
yeah.
Moraga.
Yeah, I think
Probably even colder.
Some great hotels in Moraga.
Hopefully, warm hotels.
That's a joke. There are literally no hotels in Moraga. They're
Isn't there,
probably
like,
keeping their same accommodations wherever they're staying in
Mm.
the East Bay.
Claremont?
So,
Could the Colonels afford Claremont?
Avi asked for ASU predictions.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at.
Well, as
So
Nick
they're
says
supposed
that,
to have an excellent offense and a iffy defense.
Bears win.
Yeah.
Go Bears.
Final score.
Go Bears. 2-1.
49-60. Bears win. They're 2-1 on the season. And
I'm going to go ahead and say that it's our first real win of the season.
yep,
Sorry, Northwest.
our first home game of the season too.
Right.
What do you think? You think what's going to happen? What y'all got for me? ASU as we close out this live stream.
I see no real reason to predict a win, but I suppose the formula would be that we play the kind of defense that we played today, and ASU misses shots. Same as I struggle to say anything insightful, in part because I feel like I'm just saying everything I said all last season, because I don't really think this team is going to be that different. At least now we have enough shooters that we could say, hey, maybe the shooters get hot.
Oh, damn it. They're playing the big game on Pac-12 TV right after this. Oh, I got to turn this off.
Wait, the one from this year?
Yeah, it says May 20. It says 2020. I got to turn this thing off right now.
But yeah, I mean, right. I think, right. Shooting more three, there's more chance of upset, but not holding my breath. That, yeah, we definitely don't. We look like we have a bunch of issues that's not going to get solved by Thursday.
I'm just going to say Patrick Christopher's younger brother, I think, dropped 23 in his first game at ASU. Well, both of his younger brothers are at ASU. The better one, Josh Christopher, the 5-star, dropped, I think, 23 in his first game. So, every time he makes a shot, I'm just going to, wave my fist in the air and just scream out Viking every time he shoots. Every time. So
I blame Patrick Christopher for not being able to convince him to consider Cal as a legitimate option.
I will say, there's a bit of a conspiracy theory out there with Cal fans that I've seen like on message boards where it's like because they got rid of Theo, that hurt their chances to get PC because those two, played together. I'm sure Theo was a good in to get in on that family. But
we also seeing a lot of family that want to go, play at different Pac-12 schools.
Right. Like
the
Sharif,
Ship brother.
Sharif's kid went to play at UVA, who's a 4-star guy. That was the dream for this recruiting class, right? It was Sharif's kid and Josh and Patrick Christopher's younger brother, like a high 4-star and a 5-star. Like, yeah.
If we still had Konzo,
yeah.
I think we might have. I honestly think we might have if we still had Konzo, but no. That's neither here nor there. That's a parallel universe. That's like Earth 24Z or something like that. But all right, gentlemen, thank you for joining this live stream. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Nick, enjoy your Chinese food. Ray, enjoy whatever cold beverage you were enjoying earlier. And we will see you guys on Thursday for the ASU game right here on this channel. And that's it. So long.
See you guys. Go Bears.
make Bobby Hurley angry.